Okay, we will get started. This is the February meeting of Joining Forces for Treasure Valley Veterans. And this month we're going to focus on different programs that the Boise VA offers. And we've got some really good guests. I work with all of them in one way or another. Our first guest speaker is going to be Tony Lyles. And he is the Boise VA Medical Center Operations Director for Primary Care. And I'm excited to have Tony as one of our guests. Do you want to just give us a little introduction, Tony, how you came about knowing about joining forces and got involved?
Well, yeah, I would love to. And Mitzi, I must say up front, it is such an honor to be on this side of joining forces, giving back to an organization that really kind of gave so much to me and helped me break out of my shell and network here in the Valley. So, man, you talk about coming full circle. This here is it. So good morning, everyone. I'm Tony Lyles. I'm a 24-year veteran of the United States Army. I transitioned out of the Army back in September 2019 was my last month on active duty, and I stumbled upon joining forces as a way to kind of network here in the Valley, as I did not grow up here, but my wife did. And really, my whole adult life was in the Army up until the age of 42. And so really how to network and how to like find a job and become part of a community was really something I struggled with. Well, I had some friends that I had worked with years before with hypoallergenic service dogs for veterans. And it's called Genesis is the organization. And I had worked with them decades ago. And as they knew that I was really kind of struggling with life after the military, they reached out to a colleague of theirs by the name of Marv Hagedorn and kind of greased the skids and said, hey, meet with this guy. He's going to help you and kind of get into the community. And so I met with Marv, and meeting with Marv, I met with Mitzi, and then Mitzi told me, she said, hey, I know you're networking and trying to really get established here in the Valley. I have this meeting that I hold once a month that you're welcome to attend. And man, wow, I was just flabbergasted by the amount of support that I received just through joining forces. And it really allowed me to now come into a dream job that I never dreamed about. And that was being an operations director for primary care here at the Boise VA Medical Center. And I say it's a dream job that I never dreamed about because organizations like joining forces helped me get outside of my comfort zone. Because my comfort zone, I can tell you anything about Army aviation. I can tell you anything about a Chinook helicopter or any other rotary wing aircraft in the Army inventory. But to think that this old retired aviation sergeant major will be in healthcare, man, I would have told you was either on dope or dog food, because I would have never believed it. You know what I mean? So it's organizations like this that help veterans really see their worth and understand that the skills and the experience that we gain through serving our nation is very valuable skills in many different professions. So to be here this morning, it's a true honor to be here and be able to give back. So that's enough about me. Let's talk about Boise VA Medical Center primary care. And especially let's talk about it during this time of this pandemic we call COVID. So really, we offer 3 different modalities for care for our veterans here in the Valley. And one thing I really want to talk about is those modalities. We have the traditional face-to-face modality, which that's what everyone's used to, but COVID kind of threw a curveball at that. So we have a modality called VBC. It's the VA Veterans Connect program, to where you can get an app on your phone and you can have a video appointment with your provider. And that is a great tool. We also have what we call telephone appointments. Your telephone appointments are pretty good, and I know a lot of our World War II and Vietnam era veterans really do lean towards that telephone appointment, but you're only going to get so much out of a telephone appointment where you can really get more out of VVC. And so I'm going to talk about VVC, and then I'm going to talk about this other thing called release of information PIN number. And I really want to talk about this with our World War II veterans, our Korean War veterans, our Vietnam veterans who seem, they tell themselves they're not as tech savvy, but they really are. And this generation, it's nothing they can't accomplish. But when I talk about the ROI PIN number, this is something any veteran can simply do just by coming to their primary care team and telling the clerk up front, hey, I want an ROI pin. What that ROI pin will do will allow whoever they designate as like their maybe a son, daughter, spouse, or something like that, they can call and say, hey, I need to get an appointment for my father. I need to get these labs for my mother or something like that. I need to get the results of it. And they're going to say, okay, I see that the veteran has a ROI pin. What's the 4-digit number? They're going to say 1234, and there we go. And they can get all that information that they need to take care of their loved one. So, and they also can assist with their VVC appointments, because what we found successful is like that loved one can have their iPhone or their phone right there and say, all right, we're going to do your appointment. And they're right there beside their loved one, helping them do that video appointment, so that we won't let this pandemic called COVID get in the way of our veterans getting the care that they absolutely deserve. So there's the three modalities. And there's something else I want to talk to you all about, is that the locations of our clinics. The Boise VA Medical Center, in our catchment, we have 10 primary care clinics. We have a brand new clinic in Hines, Oregon, and we have a really nice clinic in Caldwell. And one thing I want to talk to you about the Caldwell clinic is that for our veterans out there in the Payette, Caldwell, Nampa area, there's a lab there. So if you need to get labs done, you can get your labs done at the Caldwell clinic. However, the Caldwell clinic, the labs are by appointment only. So you do have to make an appointment, versus where if you do it in Boise, you can just walk in and do your labs at any time during operating hours. So that's something else to know. We also have a small CBOC. We call it our community-based outpatient clinics. We have one in Mountain Home. We also have one in Twin Falls, and we have one in Salmon, Idaho. So we really try to focus on, making sure our rural veterans have access to care. So with that being the case, that's what we have to offer. And the last but not least, hot button topic right now is the COVID-19 vaccine. So I am going to share with the group here on who's receiving the COVID-19 vaccine at the Boise VA Medical Center. So I'm going to share this screen, and I will also put a copy of it in the chat so that you will be able to see it. And let's go here. All right, so there you see we're in we call it phase 1 ultra high risk, and we are in line with CDC guidelines, and we are scheduling and vaccinating the veterans in the age of 65 and older. And then you have subcategory 2 and you have subcategory 3. And please pay close attention to subcategory 3 in the fine print. Any veteran that is a frontline essential worker in the categories there in the fine print can come here and get vaccinated. Or they also, just to let you know, beginning on 26 February, we will start vaccinating at Mountain Home and Twin Falls. And so that's what's going on here at the Boise VA Medical Center Primary Care Clinic. And I'm gonna put my email in the chat for everyone to have also. And then that way you can get in touch with me if there's a veteran out there that's having issues getting access to care, I will be extremely happy to assist with that. So as we continue on, you will see me drop this slide for phase 1 in the chat so you can download and have, and my email address will be there also. So once again, Mitzi, thank you for having me. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to give back to this organization and to help spread the word on what the Boise VA Medical Center has to offer our veterans here in the Magic and Treasure Valley. So thank you. Any questions, anyone?
Does anybody have any questions for Tony?
Tony, this is Dave Howerton, Idaho Department of Labor. How you doing?
I am doing great, Dave. How are you this morning?
Good question. Or a quick question on that category 3. Would that be like frontline workers for service organizations?
So here's the key that I really want you to look at is that if you are, I mean, you're in close contact with many different people throughout the day within 6 feet, right?
Right.
So and looking at the Department of Labor, I will look at that in the same sense as support education staff, because really you're supporting if you're eligible here at the VA and you're supporting, say you work at the Department of Labor, you're educating adults and others on employment, and you're supporting in that nature. So that to me is considered a frontline essential worker, because you're within 6 feet of others throughout your day and your duties. Does that answer your question?
That works. Thank you.
And I think the key there too, because I have gotten a lot of calls over the last couple months, but you do need to be enrolled in VA healthcare to be eligible to have your vaccine at the medical center. Is that correct? Okay.
That is correct.
Any other questions for Tony?
If
Mitzi,
I see one
I
right
have a
here.
question.
Yep.
Oh,
go right ahead.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry, Tony, I think you're going to address it. If a
Yep,
veteran doesn't have computer access, how should they register?
Okay, so if they don't have computer access, I would say the best way to register is by coming here to the center and visiting our business office. This group they're phenomenal at what they do, and also you can also call on the 422-1000 and ask for the business office, and they can answer any questions that you may have in relation to that. So yeah, call 208-422-1000 or come here and visit and speak with the business office, and they will be they're experts at what they do.
Do they still have the dedicated vaccine line open? There was a dedicated number, 1499.
Yes, that number is still open, and yeah, it still goes. You may wait a little bit, but it is there for that purpose. And then I see one question here from Family Programs. If a veteran does not have computer access, how should they register? So yeah, the registration part, I would just call the 422-1000 and speak with one of our colleagues in the business office, and they will be able to get you the right information to that veteran. And I really say call, because you never know. They are, like I said, our business office here in Boise, they're great at what they do, and they're here to help. So.
Sounds good. Tiffany Foley also put in that there's a national enrollment number, 877-222-8387 if you're outside of our area. So, if you're talking to a veteran that is northern Idaho or even in another state, they could call that number. So, okay, any other questions? Well, thank you, Tony. It has, like you said, it's come full circle, and it was an honor to have you with us today.
Thank you, Mitzi, and I look forward to speaking. Hopefully, we can make this a monthly thing. Just let me know what I can do to help spread the word for our veterans and those who support our veterans here in the area. So thank you all for what you do, and Mitzi, thanks again for having me. Stay on, and I'll drop some stuff in the chat here. So
Sounds great. Okay, our next guest is going to be Cindy Bahora. She is with the Boise VA, and she is the medical foster home coordinator. And I sent out an email, I believe it was last week, with some information that she had sent out. And so we're going to have her tell us in person more about the medical foster home program. Cindy?
Hey everybody, my name is Cindy Bahor. I've worked at the Boise VA for, quite a while now, but I have had the great honor to bring this program called the Medical Foster Home Program to the Boise VA. There's about 110 of them around the nation. What it is we find caregivers in the community that have either formal or informal experience in caregiving, and they want to honor veterans by bringing them in their home and caring for them for the rest of their lives so they do not have to go to a facility for care. So we have a team called the Home-Based Primary Care Team that does primary care visits to the home to help the caregiver and the veteran along the way. I try to find these homes in the community. Right now I have 9, and we have veterans placed in these homes. They just make these veterans a part of their family. They care for them every day. They manage their medications. And it is a great program for those veterans who do not like the idea of going to a facility for care, but when they are no longer safe to live in their homes. There is an application process. There's some standards that they have to meet. We do some inspections on the homes. They agree to meet our standards. They agree to let our team come out and help them on a regular basis. But it's a great program, and the veterans that are in these homes just love being there. So with COVID and no one gathering anymore in person, I needed to find a way to try and find some more homes because more and more veterans are interested in trying to find one of these homes to move into. So I'm just asking everyone to blanket the community and anybody that they know that may have an open bedroom, that are caregivers, that want to give back. They do get paid. The veteran pays them instead of paying a facility for care. But it's a great program, and it's been a great benefit to a lot of veterans here. So I just wanted to know who had questions and ask you all to please take a look out in your community and see if there's anybody you might be able to find that's interested.
Now, does the family themselves need to have some sort of medical background, nursing, anything like that?
You know, we like them to have experience, even if it's just caring for their elderly parents or sisters or brothers. We do ask that they get CPR certified. There's a medication class that they can take through CWI to get familiar with medications. And we ask them to get a background check. And those are like the 3 things that we ask for them.
And what level of care do these veterans generally require?
It depends. You know, we have veterans that have dementia, but can still physically care for themselves, but they need somebody to watch them, you know, most throughout the day, make their meals, do their laundry, you know, clean up their rooms. We all the way to veterans that are full care with a Hoyer lift and anywhere in between.
Okay. Would this, I guess I'm thinking if you have a family member that maybe you're thinking of moving in to your home, do you work with those sort of situations, or that would be more under the caregiver program?
That would be more under the caregiver program. If it's a family member and they're moving in with you and they're going to pay you, there's really no reason to get certified by us, because there's not, it's really, you're going to do it. So this is for those people that don't know each other, or people that are caring for someone who have the ability to care for another person. And they might want to bring a veteran in that they're not familiar with, because they have
Okay.
that time and ability.
And is there a set fee structure, or is that decided on a case-by-case basis?
That's definitely decided on a case-by-case basis. Many of you are probably familiar with the aid and attendance pension. I help a lot of the war era veterans to get that extra aid and attendance pension to help them pay for the caregivers, because functionally they definitely, if they're needing to go to a home for daily care, they qualify functionally for that pension.
Oh, okay, great. And how can people contact you, Cindy? What's your phone number?
I will put my phone number and my email in the chat box, and any information you guys have would be helpful. We're trying to get this moved out all across the Treasure Valley. Our program can be wherever our home-based primary care team goes. And right now our home-based primary care team goes all the way to Mountain Home, all the way over to Weiser, Homedale, Marsing. So it's a great big area where we can have these homes.
Oh, that's great. Okay. And I will also send out Cindy's contact information in the meeting recap that I send out later today. So, hey, thank you very much. I think that that's a very interesting program, and I think that if there are families out there, could be a very good relationship, because it's not only a caregiver taking care of somebody medically in need, but I think Cindy had told me before that they really become family members, and they can be long-term relationships. And even if you have a young family, maybe with children, having a veteran living in your home can be very rewarding. So
we do have one young family right now with a 4-year-old daughter, and they have actually 3 veterans in their home that they care for, and the veterans just love that little girl.
That's great. Yeah. Very exciting. Okay. Well, thank you, Cindy.
Thank you, everyone.
Our next guest is going to be Michael Duke, and he is with the Veterans Readiness and Employment, and most of you probably know it formerly as VOC Rehab. They've kind of rebranded, which I think is great, because I think when you say VOC Rehab, you have a certain picture in your mind, but the program is very inclusive across the board. So welcome, Michael, and if you want to tell us more about your program and what's going on here in Boise.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. My name is Mike Duke. I'm the manager with the Veteran Readiness and Employment Program. We're a program aimed at helping veterans with service-connected disabilities kind of prepare for, obtain, or maintain suitable employment. So veterans do have to have a service-connected disability. We have to kind of determine that disability does have an impact on their ability to obtain employment or maintain their employment. And then we kind of work with them. This is a collaborative process, and we work with them on identifying kind of first and foremost that vocational goal. So we always kind of tease the vets, what do you want to do when you grow up? And then we need to make sure it's suitable, so it meets their interests, their skills, their abilities. There's a labor market for it. And more importantly, that's not going to adversely affect their service-connected disability. So we're not just going to support everything. We are going to want to make sure that that job is not going to be negatively impactful on their disability, cause further harm to them. And we just kind of work with them, and then we develop what we call a individualized written rehabilitation plan. We are an individualized program, so just because what happens with one veteran doesn't mean it's going to go across the board. Every veteran experiences disabilities differently. Every veteran's kind of in a different place within their life, so we address that individuality. We develop a plan of service, and then we can pretty much we can, well, not pretty much. If the veteran has entitlement to their post 9/11, we can match that BHA. So that's that subsistence allowance that veterans get from Chapter 31, and it's at the E5 with a dependent, based on that facility. So it's a good chunk of money. So we can match that. We can also pay 100% of their tuition or training costs. We're not just entirely looking at 4-year degrees in universities and stuff like that. Voc Tech programs, we can match that. We can also do 100% of any required books and supplies. Great examples, we have a handful of vets going through the diesel mechanic program at CWI. Those are $10,000 tools, and we can cover all what is required of that. So we also, all of my counselors are master's level counselors, so we can kind of assist. And I really think this program's so great now because there's so much anxiety and uncertainty within the world. And so we are counselors, and we can kind of work and kind of help provide that counseling and guidance to our veterans. If the vets have a lot of issues, we can do referral sources to the VA Medical Center. We have a great relationship with the Vet Center and with the VA Mental Health, so we can kind of just be able to make those referrals to them while they're still in our program, so we can kind of overlap those services to help the vet become successful. Our end goal is not just finishing their program. Our end goal is that they obtain employment, and so then when they do finish their program, we then move them to what we call the employment assistance side of the house, and we kind of work with them on resume development. We work with them possibly on interview skills. We can give them job leads. We can kind of teach them how to look for jobs, kind of teach them how to fish, so to speak. And then we monitor them for 60 days while they're on their job, longer if need be. Actually, right now during COVID, up until December 21, we can actually pay 4 what we call employment adjustment allowance payments. So we pretty much, once when they're done with their program, we can add a little bit of money on top of that while they're kind of in that transition period. So right now until about the end of December, we can do 4. Traditionally, our policy allows us to do 2. So kind of we've upped that benefit. So we're actually going to monitor them for about 4 months, and then we're going to rehab their case. However, it doesn't mean they can't reach out to us. I have veterans all over the country. This is my 5th regional office I've worked at that still reach out to me and say, "Hey, Mike, this is where I'm at. What's your thoughts?" So we usually do form long-term relationships with our vets. And that's kind of us in a nutshell. You can apply, or you can encourage your veterans to apply via vets.gov or eBenefits, although eBenefits is migrating to vets.gov, and they can apply. Right now, we're looking at about 30 days to be able to get our veteran in. We do make an entitlement determination, so not all veterans are going to be entitled. So if a veteran's working and their job's suitable and there's no issues, the veterans come in, they have a ton of education. We may just focus on the employment side. It just depends. But so there is that entitlement criteria. But they can apply vets.gov. I always encourage the vets to come in, have that conversation with the counselor, and see what we can do for them.
Do they need to have a certain percentage or a minimum percentage to qualify?
They have to have at least a 10% to apply to the program. But please keep in mind that their disabilities do need to impact their inability to obtain or maintain employment in some capacity.
Okay.
And we have to be able to justify that.
Right. Does anybody have any questions for Mike? How many employment and I would keep wanting to say voc rehab, so
I do the same thing.
Yeah, veterans readiness and employment officers do you have in the Boise Treasure Valley area?
So right now we have what we call an FTE of 7. So it's myself as the manager. We have 4 counselors. We have Dr. Sean Burlisle, who's what we call a veteran success on campus counselor. He's at Boise State, and then we have 1 support staff. We have 1 vet, 1 in Pocatello, 4 or 3, 3 here in Boise, 1 in Pocatello. However, right now we are doing pretty much 100% telework. We do have a staff in the office 1 day a week, but we're doing 100% telecounseling. And I gotta be honest, at first I was very nervous about it. And it's great. The veterans don't want to come into our office anymore. They much prefer to kind of do this virtual environment. So it's worked out real well for us.
That's great. Okay. Well, thank you very much. I know I work with Sean Burlisle all the time. He's right over there at BSU, and you guys run a great program. And I think that there's a lot of veterans out there that don't realize that they qualify for the program. And I always encourage people to at least talk to you, because they might be surprised. And if they do qualify, boy, you guys offer a lot of support for them.
It's a comprehensive program, and yeah, we want to say yes. So we try real hard to say yes. So yeah, please encourage your vets to apply and see what we can do.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mike. Appreciate
Yes,
you
ma'am.
coming on with us today. Our next guest is going to be Sarah Kearney, and most of us are associated with Sarah through the Justice Outreach program. That's at least how I talk to her most, and when she's come to Joining Forces, that's been the hat that she wears. But she is also the Boise Medical Center Military Sexual Trauma Coordinator. And do you want to tell us more about that hat that you wear, Sarah?
Yes, absolutely. Thanks, Mitzi. Let me try to share my screen if I can figure that out. Is that working?
Yep, sure
Okay,
is.
great. So I took over as the MST coordinator, Military Sexual Trauma Coordinator, in March. As you know, March was a little wild. So, and April and May and June, July, and the rest. So I've kind of limped along in this role. But when I took on this additional hat, I really want to create more awareness about military sexual trauma, really encourage getting veterans who have experienced MST the quality care that they need at the VA and in the community. So I'm glad to be able to talk about this, and I did do a little PowerPoint just to kind of keep me organized and keep me on track. So I did want to define what is military sexual trauma. I think it's important that we are, as a community, really aware about what MST is. I'm not going to read these slides, but if you want them to access them, please let me know and I can provide them to you. I really want us to be as educated as possible so that when someone comes to us as a provider in the community or at the VA, we are aware if they meet criteria as a veteran who's experienced MST. But I also want you to know that I am always available to answer questions, to be a source of support, to talk with you and the veteran, or to talk with the veteran about what their options are, how we can get them connected to additional resources. So, you know, if your organization needs more information, handouts, brochures, anything of that nature, I'm more than happy to provide that information. I'm also more than happy to come and speak to your organization if your providers want more information about what veterans can receive who have experienced MST. What is really shocking to me is how common military sexual trauma is. We know that veterans who are receiving care at the VA, 1 in 3 women and 1 in 50 men will tell their provider that they've experienced MST. We also know that these numbers are underreported because of the stigma of talking about military sexual trauma, as well as there's a whole host of veterans out there in the community who are not accessing VA healthcare who have experienced MST. So it's important to know that this is not time limited. This is not to one era of service. This is all eras of service is what we experience at the VA in terms of those who've disclosed military sexual trauma. So it's important that we are thinking in the forefront of our minds that the veterans we are serving, there's a good chance that a number of them have experienced military sexual trauma. We know that after someone has experienced MST, they are likely to develop some mental health conditions. Not all do, but some do. And so these are some of the major ones, post-traumatic stress disorder being the most likely, but also major depression, some schizophrenia, psychosis, substance use, mania, and bipolar disorders. We also frequently see with our veterans who've experienced military sexual trauma. What I found really shocking is that veterans who have experienced sexual assault are much more likely to experience post-traumatic stress disorder, even than those veterans who have experienced high combat exposure. So we know that the long-term effects of MST are significant. And so it's really important that as a community, we provide trauma-informed care, that we get these veterans into services, get them into counseling, into the resources that they need in order to work through these traumatic experiences. So what does the VA do? So we provide free health care to those who have experienced MST. So if you're working with a veteran who receives medical care at the VA, and maybe they have a copay for some of their services, if they come in for something related to their MST, whether it be behavioral health or medical care, that care is free of charge. But we have to know that they've experienced MST in order to make that happen. And I can be the point of contact to get that activated in their medical record so that when they come in for that MST related care, they can get it free of charge. Also, veterans who are not technically eligible for VA medical care under the typical eligibility requirements can receive MST related care free of charge through us. So maybe you're working with someone who has an OTH, or maybe they don't have the 2 years of active duty service, but they experience MST. They can still come to us for behavioral health counseling, maybe one of our residential treatment programs. So it's really important that we, as a VA, become aware of those veterans so that we can provide those services for them. So at the VA, we provide universal MST screening. Everyone who comes in our door for their first primary care appointment is asked if they experienced MST. It's not uncommon, though, for someone to say no at that first visit, and then 10 years later, as they've built trust with their provider, to disclose that they have experienced MST. There's an MST coordinator at every VA medical center, so if you are working with a veteran out of state or in a different catchment area, I can connect you with that MST coordinator so that the veteran you're working with can have a warm handoff and be connected with someone who can help them navigate the VA system. We also have a national MST support system. We provide a number of education and training, and then we also try to provide outreach to veterans. I am starting, or recently started, a female MST group at the Boise VA. It's a 12-week curriculum, and my hope is to get a male MST group started here shortly. So if you have veterans that you know who might be interested, please let me know. I'd be more than happy to talk with them about getting them into that program. Again, veterans who are not technically eligible for VA, maybe they have an OTH, maybe they don't have enough time in service to access VA healthcare, they might be able to access some of these services, as well as we work really closely with Mitzi's folks at Idaho Division of Veteran Services and the DAV to work on those service-connected claims as well, to get them connected with additional resources. Here's some great resources. My goal as MST coordinator, especially now that it feels like the world is starting to open back up, is to really provide a lot of education to the community. So if you have organizations that I can come and speak at, or again, any paper related documentation that they might be interested in, please let me know. I am more than happy to come out and speak with them, or if it's a virtual meeting, I'm more than happy to present more in-depth information about MST if your organization is interested. But some of these resources are also really great point veterans to, as well as to point your colleagues to as well if they want more information about post-traumatic stress disorder or recovery from MST. April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. I wasn't really able to get much off the ground considering I had just started in March and then everything kind of blew up in terms of being able to have awareness events. We were all very collectively focused on something else in April. But this year I'm really hoping to get something off the ground regardless of what's happening globally and locally with the pandemic. Some of the things that we've done before have been clothesline projects, ribbons of support, Warrior Teal Days. So I will be using Mitzi's incredible services to get the word out. But a group of us at the VA are currently working on what that project's going to look like. So again, here's some more resources. I'm more than happy to get you connected to those. Let me know how I can be a resource to you. Here's my contact information. That first number is my work cell. You can text me or call me there. That's usually the best way to reach me because I am still the Veterans Justice Outreach Coordinator. So I'm still in court and hopefully soon I'll be back in the jails, but keep those referrals coming to me, whether it be MST related or VJR related. I'm more than happy to serve whatever veterans you're working with and make all of our jobs easier. So let me know how I can help, okay?
Okay. Now I have a question, and I usually ask questions that I know the answer to, but I don't know the answer to this one at all. A lot of times we have veterans come to our service officers to file an MST claim to get a disability rating, but is that required to have a disability rating to use your services at the medical center?
No, they do not have to have that rating. So if they are not eligible for VA under the regular eligibility requirements, they can come and talk with me and we can talk about getting them the MST related care without that service connected claim. So absolutely, they don't have to have that service connected claim. Good question.
Okay. But then after dealing with you and getting a level of trust, then you could assist them with getting that disability rating for their MST. Is that right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I would work with them as they're comfortable in getting connected with the service officer to start that process.
Okay. Well, and I think that is a huge distinction too, because I deal with a lot of veterans on the side that they have a disability rating for their MST, but it's a long and arduous process, and you have to really put everything out there, and it's hard to talk about. And so I think that if they can come and get the medical care and start building that trust without realizing that they have to go through that process to be eligible, I think that's huge.
Absolutely, because that can be a very frustrating and invalidating process, especially if they are denied that service-connected claim. It feels like what happened to them is not being taken seriously. And so it's great to have that therapeutic support while they're going through that to allow for that validation of, yes, this happened. And even if you are denied, that doesn't mean it didn't happen and that it's not significant. So that having that therapeutic support can be really critical through that process.
Yeah. And I just want to relay a story. I'm working with a family. The veteran went to one of our service academies, graduated, was in the military for a while, and then, had an upward trajectory, and then just all of a sudden quit the military, came home, got into drugs, just for the last 20 years has been in trouble. And the family could never figure out, what had happened and things. And this veteran just recently confided in the family that he was raped while on duty. And it just really brought to light. They could just look back and see what had happened with his life. But this was the first time that he had finally felt comfortable speaking about it. And they're working with him to get him the help that he needs. And so, like Sarah said, there's no expiration date on, seeking help or making a claim for MST.
Absolutely.
And let's see, Dan Ashley, I'll just go ahead and call on you, Dan. You put something in the chat, just in case not everybody can see it.
Yes. Good morning. We work directly with the VA-MC, so I'm constantly with different events with Sarah at times. The COVID kind of slowed some of that down with us for a little bit, but just an additional resource. We work directly with the hospitals and the clinics. We are a standalone agency, though, as the Vet Center, and we do offer MST services as well. And the point is, getting care for that veteran. So, we try to find the best fit for them. We're out in rural communities, so sometimes, we can get them in quickly at the Vet Center program, and that MST. Like Sarah was saying, it doesn't have to have been reported while they were in the service. They can come see us and talk about it, and we can get that process started, not only for the treatment part to help them heal, but in the event that they want to pursue a disability claim as well.
Right. And just to clarify, Sarah, even if something happened while they were in the military, maybe reserve, but it happened off base, it wasn't with another military member, anything like that, that still qualifies. Is that correct?
It gets a little, it's a little different if they're reserve. Active duty, yes. Reserve, we'd have to ask some additional questions to get more information.
Okay.
To see if it would qualify.
Well, and I had one that they were actually, it was a reserve weekend. They were on duty at that time and things. So, but if you have any questions, contact Sarah, contact the Vet Center. Our service officers here at Idaho Division of Veterans Services are all trained in taking those military sexual trauma cases, but going directly to Sarah at the medical center, I think is one of the first steps to build that trust for the Vet Center. Since we have a little bit of time, Sarah, do you have any updates with your justice hat on?
Not too many updates. We are just plugging along as best we can. We are really limited in our ability to reach out to jails right now. But luckily, Ada County jail staff has been really incredible in facilitating a lot of contact. So because our normal channels are not what they used to be or what we hope they will be in post-COVID times, any referrals you have for veterans who are struggling with criminal justice issues, please get them connected to us. Our numbers of veteran treatment court participants are a little bit lower. They're starting to grow again, but we know that there's veterans out there who are struggling. So just keep referring them to us. We want to get them into care and get them into these programs so that we can get them back on their feet. But yeah, it's been an odd time to be in an outreach role, that's for sure.
That is for sure. So, well, thank you for joining us today, Sarah.
Thanks.
Okay, next we're going to have Christina Pollock from the Boise Vet Center, and she is going to talk to us about emotional blackmail, emotional being held hostage emotionally, some of the things that they work with over there. How are you doing this morning, Christina?
I'm good, you guys. I'm actually over at the Pocatello Vet Center because they had some medical issues, and then they're working on moving to Idaho Falls. So I'm in Pokey. So hi on the other side. Their new facility is going to be amazing in Idaho Falls. Just an FYI, I saw the floor plans for the Idaho Falls Vet Center, and holy shit, I'm jealous. Like, this thing is amazing. Like,
Is it going to be in addition to Pocatello, or is it replacing the Pocatello one?
it's going to be, so technically it's replacing the Pocatello Vet Center, but they'll have a cap here. They'll have an office here so that the Pocatello veterans aren't left out in the wind. So
Good.
one of their
Awesome.
counselors.
Okay. Well, what do you have to tell us about today?
So, because Mitzi needed some time filled, no, I'm just kidding.
Well, I was going to call on you whether you were prepared or not, so I'm glad that at least you had 24 hours notice.
Well, something that I've been talking to my team a lot about is when a veteran or their family attempts to take us emotionally hostage. So they're kind of being emotional terrorists, which isn't probably the best word, but they're emotionally blackmailing, right? So, and I was kind of thinking with this platform, we have a lot of people who work with veterans, and we're kind of the helping professions. So it can be really hard because we want to help so much, and we have different layers of obligation. So when you have a veteran who you feel really needs the help, but they're also adding a lot of pressure and a lot of emotion onto you, it can be really hard not to get caught up and being taken as an emotional hostage, essentially. So, and what that really means is where you feel like you have to answer immediately to another person. That's the bare minimum definition of it, but this can happen in a lot of different ways. A couple of the things, it can be with your kid. You hold them, oh, well, if you don't do that, that can be an emotional hostage. The severity, of course, changes. And I think the severity changes for us, especially in the helping profession, because, some people will, as soon as they say the suicide word, like, we're automatically obligated, right? And we have that fear catches in, and then we have some of the guilt. So thankfully, a lot of our organizations have some professional standards that help us with those, but it can be really, we can get caught up in it really quickly, right? So, oh, my computer's dinging at me. Sorry, guys. So I guess what I'm saying is be careful on being their emotional anchor. Don't be their emotional everything, because it can escalate to suicide. It can lead to a lot of friction, resentment, and tension between the relationship, regardless if it's a counselor, patient, any of the situations. It can really outreach, just veteran organizations. We can open ourselves up to this quite quickly. And then it can lead to codependency and one-dimensional relationships. So like us and like many of you here, our job is to help the veteran get moving forward. So it's careful. It is important to not catch them in that so that they step back a few steps. Is there any questions about that? I know that was kind of a shotgun version of it. I got more, but I just wanted to make sure if there's any questions. Okay.
Doesn't sound like it.
We'll keep moving. The three big things, if you're being taken emotional hostage, what you're going to feel is fear, obligation, and guilt. So if you have those three pop up in any severity, that's when you can kind of tune in to being taken emotional hostage. And a lot of times the people who are doing it are not completely aware. So this is a good time for our healthy boundaries. This is when we get to be direct and kind of teach them like, hey, we're not, of course my phone rings at the same time I'm presenting. Awesome. I'm going to pretend it's not ringing. That when they do the obligation and the guilt and the fear, it's our reaction to what they're requesting from us. So it's not that they're intending to be hurtful. It's that we need to learn how to use our boundaries, how to put up our professional boundaries and help them navigate that and really foster independence and interdependence where they can build awareness and insight. And then it also protects us, right? It protects us from being just emotionally exhausted. And that's hard for our kind of work, right? Like we can really get invested in what we do. So I thought that would just be kind of something to throw out there, a good little public announcement, just kind of for everybody to be aware that this happens and we're human, so it's going to happen. And just knowing when it's time to kind of step back, build good, healthy boundaries, and just keep moving forward. Because you guys, we all are doing really good work. I mean, as everybody was talking today, I refer to everybody, and I get referrals from almost everybody. And it's really good work that we're doing, but it can be really emotionally taxing. And so when we have a emotional terrorist, I like to call them, just being aware of it and having insight to it, and just, you know, if you need help, call somebody you have faith in and consult. Holy moly. Even if you're not, you know, even if it's not a counselor you're calling to consult, call somebody, even on this, you know, in this group, just kind of, hey, I've got this situation. Help me look at it a different perspective, because it can really wear us out, and our jobs need longevity. So.
You know, I notice when I'm really busy and dealing with a lot of people, I don't get sucked in as much, because I have to, you know, prioritize everybody. And if somebody is taking a lot of time, I'm like, okay, you need to do these steps that I've given you and then get back with me. But when it's not quite as busy, and you know, you start dealing with somebody and you think, oh, I have more time to spend with them, and then they feel that need to be contacting you all the time, and you do get into those situations where you do feel like you're being held hostage, or that they are taking more of your time instead of working on things themselves. They feel like you can do those things for them, and I try to empower the veterans to do the steps themselves and give them the resources.
And that's the big key. And I think everybody here is on the same page, is that we're empowering veterans. We're not keeping them sick. And so that's, you know, we're not keeping them in a dependent role. So really using that empowerment. But I mean, we're human. It's going to happen. So that's the other part. Damn human nature. Well,
and it is good to have somebody that you can call. I contact Christina from time to time, and you know, run things past her. There's several other people on here that I talk to on a regular basis that, you know, sometimes you just, you get in the weeds with somebody too, and you can't see the big picture, and if you get another perspective and things, that really helps. So, well, I appreciate that. Hey, anybody have any questions for Christina?
I just want to say, Christina, I love it. I absolutely love what your topic. We were actually talking about that in VRNE. We get beat up quite a bit in our program because it is lucrative. We do have to make these determinations. So I absolutely love it. I may have you come on and speak to the staff, because I think they would probably sick and tired of hearing from me and would love to hear from you. Plus, we all miss you.
Oh, I miss you guys. I would love that. That would be awesome. Because I think it's really important, especially with what we do. You guys, like all of us on the call, we're givers. And, you know, there's people in the world that will take maybe too much because we give too much. So it's really important to have those good, healthy boundaries for sure.
That's great. Okay, well, thank you very much. Okay, we still have a little bit of time here. So I'm going to call out some people. We have Tiffany Foley. If you're available, you're with the Boise VA Suicide Prevention. And I know that we've had you as a guest speaker before, but as long as we're on VA programs, do you want to tell us what's going on over at Suicide Prevention?
Hi, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yep, sure can.
Okay. Good morning. Yes, I would have volunteered to present today, but I'm currently quarantined with COVID and kind of up and down on my health myself. So otherwise, so I don't have a lot of new updates. Things are chugging along. I really don't have it. I really don't have anything new. It's just, you know, it's very busy, as I'm sure everyone can relate, and especially continuing to adapt to changes each day. We are running our Reasons for Living group. Right now it's over the phone. and that's going well. We're hoping to change it into a hybrid group and have some veterans through video, if they're interested, but right now it's over the phone. So there's a lot happening. But yeah, I don't really have anything new today. So thank you.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that. And they do a great job over there. And that Reasons for Living group is a great group. I had a friend that had been a part of that for quite some time, and it really did her a lot of good. Keith Miller, Boise Rescue Mission. Do you have anything to tell us about what's going on over at the Rescue Mission?
Not a whole lot. We're keeping busy working with, we're just busy working with homeless vets. Some exciting things are coming soon. I just not at liberty to talk about much right now. So
sounds good. I think that this Sunday, Dutch Brothers is having a fundraiser for Boise Rescue Mission. If you purchase a Dutch Bros drink, they're donating a portion of that to the rescue mission. Is that right?
That's correct. And if you enjoy coffee, you might as well help out the Boise Rescue Mission.
Sounds great. Yeah, I think a lot of us enjoy a good Dutch Bros. So, Mindy Anderson, Veterans Chamber of Commerce. You have a training coming up in conjunction with Isaac Belden and the Veterans Entrepreneurial Alliance next week.
We do, yeah. We're partnering with SBA, the SBDC, the VEA, the Idaho Women's Business Center, SCORE, Treasure Valley, and the Department of Commerce to provide just a quick overview of the resources that they provide. And then we'll be providing some more education workshops throughout the year with them specifically providing specific resources for veterans and their family members that are in business. Because it's not just the veterans, we have spouses and we have dependents. We have all kinds of people that are reaching out for resources for business. So we're really excited about that.
That's great. Yeah, that should be a really good program. She has a lot of guests. They're really just going to give an overview of their program. So it'll be a good opportunity to see what each of these programs, SBA, SCORE, those different ones offer. And then we'll have, I think you're going to have some other breakout sessions that'll go into more detail in the future with each of those programs. But this will be a good overview of that.
Yeah.
Connie May, do you want to give us an update on Harvest for Heroes?
Yes. Hi, everyone. Right now, we're accepting applicants for our 2021 Harvest Heroes program, and if you know someone that you think would benefit from the program, please send them our way. We've got everything on the website. Mitzi's sent out the information, but we could have her send that out again for anybody that needs it. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm at I can put my email here in the chat box, and you can contact me directly. And we're going to start our program on the 24th of February. And right now we've only got about 4 applicants, so we're a little short on the applicant side. So anything that you can do to help us get the word out, that'd be appreciated. Thank you.
Okay, we'll get that out again. That is a great program. What's the cost on that? It was just very minimal.
Yeah, it's $65, and it covers from February until October. So it's minimal cost, but if anybody is financially strapped and really can't afford that, we can talk about a scholarship opportunity for that. But if a person's a returning member or somebody that's been in the program, either the last year or the year before, their costs are reduced. But we work that out with those individuals, and but the new folks, it's $65, and they get textbooks, they get education and all that stuff, and they get to get hands-on work out in the garden. So it's minimal cost for a lot of benefit.
Yeah. I went out to the garden 2020. I mean, that's a wash, but 2019, I went out there when they were harvesting everything, and you guys had a big party, and it's a really neat program. And not only did each of the families benefit individually learning, but it really became a big family with everybody interacting, and they learned quite a bit out there, and it was a great group. Okay. Does anybody else have anything that they would like to update us on? Anybody? A week ago, we had the tragic deaths of 3 of our Guard members here in the Valley, and those services are taking place at the Idaho State Veterans Cemetery this week, and our flags are at half staff through tomorrow. And I see several people. I'm going to call you out from family programs out at Gowan. Is there anything that we can do as a community to help out there at all? Let's see, Diane or Glenn? Nope.
Hi, Mitzi. This is Glenn. Currently,
Hi, Glenn.
I'm in Twin Falls. I know that there have been some discussions there at Gowan Field, but I would highly recommend just reaching out to the Public Affairs Office on Gowan Field to coordinate any offers of assistance. I believe they are the best and most knowledgeable about what's going on.
Okay. I will put that message out then. Jared Thomas, L-ADA Community Action Partnership. Do you have anything that you would like to tell us about this morning?
Sorry, you got me while I was driving, but I'll be safe.
Okay.
We're still plugging away. We got a bunch of CARES money moving forward all the way into fiscal 22. So we have a lot of rental assistance money for our veterans in the supportive services for veteran programs grant. We are going to be losing Destiny to grad school pretty soon, so we would like to put a shout out to any maybe veterans that have a social work license that want to help us do this awesome program. What else we got going on?
Well, I'm going to be sad to see Destiny go. You guys have been a power team over there and have done a great job.
I'm going to be sad to see her go because I'm going to have to take up our work until we find somebody. But
well, if any of the organizations
like good.
Good. For those of you that don't know, L-ADA Community Action Partnership, Jared does run the programs for veterans over there. And as he mentioned, there's the rental assistance. There's different qualifications for that. But something that is easy to qualify for, whether you're a veteran or not, is their assistance with utility bills and things like that. So they are a really good resource over there, and Jared and Destiny have been great resources for veterans, and they've got some good programs over there.
So the only veteran we can't take is one with a dishonorable discharge, so most other discharges are eligible. So
that's great. Okay. Anybody else have anything that they would like to add before we wind up here?
Hey, Mitzi, this is Dan again. I just put a quick comment in the notes that I will be at Elevate in Nampa this afternoon. Each 11th of the month, Elevate Mind and Body is doing an outreach event for veterans to get some kind of care for the mind and body. They have a lot of different things there that can help soothe your mind and body. And I'm there to just kind of answer questions about veteran benefits and services. There is social distancing and wearing our masks while there, so we do keep that that caution while we're out and about.
That's great. Yeah, that is something to keep in mind. It is on the 11th of each month, and they offer free programs for their different services each month. And I'm drawing a blank right now, Dan, but I know they have like I think it's a saltwater tank.
Yeah, so
do you
they
know
have
some
the
of the
float
other
tank.
things that they have?
Yep, the float tank, which is with the salt water, and you basically float on top of the water while you're in there. And they have red light therapy too, which helps deal with pain and just regeneration of the cells in your body. They have several different chair massagers out there. There's something for your feet that gets rid of the toxins. I mean, it's just they even have hot yoga in there. So they have quite a few different things that can just kind of bring some peace and calm to you, and kind of a day of self-care. And they offer a lot of different programs. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of alternative therapies, and sometimes people are hesitant to try those. So it's nice that on the 11th of every month that they do offer those services free to veterans, so you can come out, check it out, find out more about their program and things.
Yeah, and they can try one of the services for free while they're there. The float tanks are actually really good in treating PTSD symptoms, and so that there's a lot of research on that. So.
That's great. Okay, well, if there isn't anything else that anybody would like to add, we will wrap up this month's meeting. And I appreciate everybody joining us, and we will see you next month. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Mitzi.